Welcome to the No Bull Political Arena. With your hosts, Sophia Nelson, Bill O'Reilly, Brian Mistro, and TJ McCormick. It's real voices, raw politics, and no bullshit. Hello, everybody. It's Brian Mistro. I'm here with my friend TJ McCormick and Robert George. Welcome again, Robert. It's great to have you on. TJ, as always, it's wonderful, my friend.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, and it's been a little while since all of us have been able to be on the same show together. So that's great. It's as I mentioned recently, we're going to have a lot of
Might
changes
be
coming
my.
up.
Sorry.
Do what, Robert? I'm sorry.
No, I was saying I think this is actually my first appearance on this particular show, because
Oh,
usually
was
I'm
it? Oh, I was.
I'm usually on with the Reverend on his show
Oh.
on his show. This is
Yeah,
the first time.
Robert's usually on with Michael.
Oh, for some
Yeah,
reason,
yeah,
I was thinking you were doing this. You've been on this one too, but well, it's great to
yeah.
have you, regardless. Yeah. So,
I'm
uh,
on the show. I'm on the show with two black guys and one white guy, as opposed to two white guys and one black guy.
hey, I identify as non-binary, so just so you know. All right. Hey, listen, folks. If you haven't been following some of our other shows, and we just mentioned, there's a lot of positive changes coming. We're going to be adding shows. We've got a lot of new people that are joining. Some of these people, if you do politics at all, you will know their name or have seen them on television and so forth. So we've got a lot of very, very positive things happening. We've only got a short time to cover through a lot of this, and it'll be kind of a fun discussion tonight because we're going to talk about some things that are political and some that's just really kind of not. But let's go ahead and let's start with the political side of it. So I'm going to read the slide for everyone, and again, if you want to read it, fine. If you're just listening through the podcast or whatever, that's totally fine too. But let me go ahead and quote it. The nomination of Trump's former personal lawyer to be AG just advanced to the full Senate. Judiciary Republicans caved. All 12 Republicans voted in favor of Todd Blanche, and all Dems voted against. Um, I have been, and I've said this from the beginning. It wasn't that I was against Todd Blanche. I am 100% against the deal that he's cut with the IRS deal, and with I guess the 1.776 billion is kind of gone, although it can be resurrected after he's confirmed. No other person in the history, 250 years of this country, has ever gotten a deal that I'm aware of, like the IRS deal that the Trump and his kids and all of his businesses just got. I am happy to be corrected on that, Robert. You know history better than I do, but it just reeks of corruption. So what are your thoughts, Robert?
uh, I well, it's very easy to say that no other president or no other individual has gotten a sweetheart deal like this. That's right off the top. But I think it's important to kind of go back and look at how, to his credit, if you want to put it that way, uh, Donald Trump Donald Trump knows how to play the long game. And if you recall, he was the first major party presidential candidate to decline to share his taxes when he first ran
Right.
in 2015, 2016. And his excuse for that was, I'm under audit, and I can't release them because I'm under audit, which everybody knew was kind of bogus at the time. But he did that, he did that, he did that. And so now we've gone from that, again, going back to 2015 when he first announced, that got him into he managed to get into the White House without ever having to share his tax information, unlike any other president. And now here we are coming in at the end part in his second term, and he gets this sweetheart deal where he sues the IRS for illegally leaking
Mm-hmm.
one of his tax returns. Now, it should be noted that that leak came when he was president, during his first term. The person who actually did the leaking was found, prosecuted, and sent to jail. But he
By the
comes in
Biden,
his second term
put in jail by the Biden administration too. By Biden, I want
by
to
the
just
by the by the Biden administration. And so he then comes in and makes this argument that he's been wronged. So he, as private citizen Donald Trump, sues the federal government, and the federal government, which is now being run by President Donald Trump, they get this deal saying, well, as part of first of all, he made an outrageous argument of, like, I think they wanted to suing for like $10 billion or
it
something
was
like that.
10 billion. Yeah,
And then he said, well, we're going to instead we're going to do a settlement, and part of this settlement is the IRS is blocked from auditing myself, or my family. So we've come full circle. Oh, I'm under audit, so I can't release my tax returns. Oh, this settlement now blocks the IRS from any kind of an audit, so I don't have to share anything. It looks blatantly. It doesn't just look. I think it is blatantly corrupt, and the fact that his former personal attorney signed off on it in his role as acting attorney general, and that's where we are.
it is. Uh, TJ, I'd love your. I know you and I don't agree on a lot of stuff, but I'd love your take on it because I
Yeah,
just think it just reeks.
it does reek. I've never become terribly exorcised about this. I think that might be the term I used when we first talked about this a month ago or so, or month and a half ago, because I have great faith in the checks and balances. I have great faith in ultimately the bumpers being brought in and the emergency brakes being pulled, just as they have in many other instances in Trump's first term, in this term already, executive orders and policies and appointments. And I have great faith. And I think, too, because I'm sort of in acceptance of this new normal, like right now, if we were talking about the Iran war, I'd have a lot more stuff that I am quite exercised about. But in this case, I remain calm because the Constitution is bigger than all of us. It's bigger than Donald Trump,
Hmm.
and I'm okay. I don't like any of it, and a couple of things I'm okay with about it. But it'll all come out in the wash. Nothing gets done like that by writ. It's just, even the stuff that's supposed to be by writ gets overturned and stopped, and injunctions, et cetera, et cetera. So this was one of those things that my hair never did quite catch on fire because I just know that there are checks and balances that are ready to roll.
Well,
Yeah,
TJ, my concern is uh, that the checks and balances in a situation like this are, one of the checks is supposed to be
Yes.
from the legislature, from the Congress. And you had this little kabuki dance over the last few days, where John Cornyn and Tom Tillis say, that they're concerned and worried that the so-called weaponization fund
Right.
is which they had been promised was dead, that Trump has been talking about bringing back. And they said, well, we've got this, we've got a written statement from Todd Blanche saying that it's not going to come back.
Right.
When anybody who takes a look at it very clearly means that the written statement is literally not worth the paper that it's written
It's
on,
written on. Yeah.
because first of all, Todd Blanche isn't really a party to the actual agreement, and Trump can just say, the minute Blanche is
Confirmed.
the minute Blanche is approved,
confirmed.
he
Yeah,
can just say he can just ignore it. But I will agree with you on one point, that the reason why I'm less exercised on the Blanche issue is that uh, the way the Vacancies Act works, uh, even if Todd Blanche is not approved as Attorney General, he can stay. He can stay as acting Attorney
Acting.
General
Yep.
through the end of
Yep.
Trump's term.
Yep.
So I mean, it becomes a, well, what's the real difference between if he's acting, which when he has all the powers of the Attorney General, or whether he's actually confirmed. So I think there's more. I agree with you. I think there's more energy being focused on this particular issue when goodness knows there are a hell of a lot of other really outrageous things, going on just this week.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Jean Pirro, or is she here? Is she gone? Who knows?
Yeah, right, right. That one kind of came and went pretty quickly without getting as much attention as I thought it would.
I don't know. So for those that are watching, so that you just a little bit of reset, so we understand what we're talking about, or that Robert brought up. So on the reflecting pool, they had Gene Priero had what do you call it, indicted an individual claiming that I guess he used a box cutter and cut
Right.
up the pool and pulled out the blue on the pool, and then lo and behold, I guess it was, I don't know how long ago was it, 30 days ago. 30 days later, they come back and it turns out, no, he didn't, number one. And number two is because of his faulty installation on it by somebody that's directly connected to Trump and Mar-a-Lago. And so,
Mm.
and so
And
she declines to go forward with, as she should, as she should. She declines to go forward with the prosecution, and Trump goes ballistic. I forget what did he say. I forget his exact
he
words,
said
Robert. But
he said she choked,
She
yeah,
choked.
that's
and
what it was. That's what it
and
was.
she said, and he said that well, there's pictures in this video of this guy. There are no pictures and video
Yeah.
of this guy doing this. A guy he's like he's in his 60s. He's a former Olympian canoeist, and
Mhm.
apparently Puro and the Department of the Interior
Yeah,
Secretary Burgum,
yeah,
um, under which the pool falls under
yeah,
Interior. Uh, they're Pirro and Burgum are pointing fingers at
yeah,
one another.
yeah.
But I mean, this is this I think is actually more disturbing, TJ, and I'd love to hear your take on this. This actually I find more disturbing because, like, I agree with you. The official actions, you can get some pushback on. You can there may be some checks and balances that are going on there. You can even actually make the argument that Piro's decision to drop this is an example of one of those checks and balances.
Mhm. Yes.
My issue though is that the checks and balances are not so far there that we have, unlike in the first term. I don't really see
Mm,
anyone in the current administration to just say uh, out and out, Mr. President, you have no clothes on here. This is
Mhm.
you. He thinks that constantly saying stuff, even if it's not true, he has the power to instill that
Yeah.
reality
And
on.
you know what, Robert? He's been doing that. That has been the earmark, the hallmark rather, of this administration more than anything else, more than even crazy executive orders or far-reaching. It's been, and he was the lion that roared the first administration, but this time it's been his mouth more than anything because, and this is something I'm thinking from Brian's choir book here. This is it's been, he's constantly contradicting himself. He's constantly going way out over his skis. and then running all the way back, sometimes within the same news cycle, within hours, he'll have one televised, Oval Office desk press conference. And then that afternoon, he'll be heading out to the helicopter. And I mean, and the vast majority of this big mouth stuff has not been about the reflecting pool or it's been about the most crucial global reaching issue of this administration, which has been the Iran war. He has been more
I'm sorry, TJ. The Iran what?
I'm sorry, the Iran conflict, the Iran,
The Iran what? The
the
Iran
Iran
what?
war, the Iran war, exactly. The Iran operation,
Well,
the
well,
Iran
A special
incursion,
military operation.
we have
expedition.
always
Yes,
been at,
the
we have
Iran.
we've always been at war with East Iran.
Yeah, and listen, and yet there is enough there that he doesn't have to constantly go on these crazy tirades and make all of these pronouncements and then retract them, and then I mean, it's now comical and almost a caricature of itself. It has, once again, we'll use the phrase "jump the shark." It's jumped the shark every single time he says we're going to bomb them into oblivion. And I'm hearing that there's a deal that's imminent. Bomb them, deal imminent, imminent deal, bomb them. I mean, yeah. And so,
We got to the whole taco thing. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And we're
which
actually going to
I'm
talk
really
about that in a
surprised
few
he
And
didn't.
minutes
today
too.
is taco. It is Taco Tuesday.
Is.
So there you
Taco
go.
It is Taco
Tuesday.
It's
Tuesday.
absolutely perfect.
All right, so
Uh,
I'm going to jump to something because I do want to get to the Iran war because
Sure.
that is a subject that I think we should all be focused on. But I want to hit something real quick, which is apolitical, and it's
Mhm.
something that actually I'm going to make a plug for one of our shows. It's called The Hinge of History, and it's
Ah.
completely about AI. Okay, I want to
Mhm.
read to you this slide, and then just going to chat for this for just a minute, and we'll move on. But it's just so extraordinary. The slide says, "quote U.S. companies AI is letting Ukraine's cheap kamikaze drones track targets on their own." And so let me explain to folks for just a second why this is such a big deal. Um, this is a complete change in warfare. Uh, I mean, all warfare that we have known up until the last 4 or 5 years has completely changed. And the
Mhm.
ability to put in, whether it be robots or whether it be kamikaze drones or kamikaze little boats and so forth, that
Mhm.
now a computer can think like a person and decide to pull the trigger and kill that person or not. That is the technology that Ukraine is using, and oh my God! I mean, this is like going back in history to when they took, instead of using a cannon, they used
Mhm.
rifles and made everything obsolete in the early
Mhm.
1800s when they learned to rifle stuff. And that's what's happening right now. And oh my God, it's didn't get enough attention that it should, because the next 10 or 15 years are going to be insanely changing for military. I just, a real quick comment, Robert. I didn't know if you knew about that, but what were your thoughts?
Well,
Because it blew me away.
the joke, the joke I told you before we went on the air was we've gotten to a point where literally you cannot spell Ukraine without AI.
That's right.
Uh,
Yeah.
Hi-oh,
but
well done.
hey, but it's there are two thoughts that immediately come to mind. One is that uh, Putin's decision to invade Ukraine may end up turning out to be about as disastrous a decision as George W. Bush's decision to go into
Hmm.
Iraq.
Mhm.
In terms of what it will ultimately expose as the limitations of a superpower.
Right.
Mm.
We in the space of about a year and a half, you've gone to Ukraine almost on its knees, about ready to capitulate,
Yep.
to turning it around and have come now being on the cutting edge of technology and looking like it's about to beat back a superpower. That's number one. Number two, something you said though about how autonomous these drones might be. Was it not the case there was like a major controversy which led to Anthropic
That's exactly right. I already know where you're going to go with this.
losing
Yes.
losing out on a contract with the administration because the administration would not allow Anthropic to say, we do not want to get so autonomous on this that it is possible for the AI to act in a potentially, overly lethal way without a human being able to
Right.
stop it from doing what it wants to
Yeah,
do.
folks, Robert is dead on, and that's
Yep.
we actually talked about this a couple of times on our
And I'm
show.
wondering if that's how far, how lethal. I mean, I'm pro Ukraine, and I want
Yeah.
them to will beat Russia, but exactly how much latitude do these drones have? And if you're like zooming in to kill one person, but it ends up taking out the entire family, or
Right, because it senses that it has an opportunity to cut off the snake's head, and instead of that one guy, it's going to think for itself and realize there's a whole battalion there. We can take out the battalion as well and finish. And by the way, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, did I not hear that part of that recently Anthropic, what led to this concern of theirs was that they had been watching one of their entities, if there are multiple, but they had been watching their own product and saw that it had made some unilateral decisions on its own to
Yep.
actually hack into
Hack its
either
way out of the barriers. Yep.
yes, and they saw that happen. Anthropic saw that happen with their own product and said, "We got to tap the brakes and we got to be because if we sit on this because we saw that, so now we know that it's going to do that. So we better own up to it because if we end up causing almost World War III or worse, if it comes out, yeah. So anyway, yeah,
Yeah. No, you're right. And so, and Anthropic.
Cloud release 4.09
Yeah.
launched World War
I
2.5.
think they've
when it
done
was
some
working
movies
on
that.
TJ's daughter's college resume.
Yeah, so the Anthropic thing was exactly what Robert was saying. The reason that all they wanted was that the AI could
Lawrence.
not individually, or say, is that the right word? Individually? There's got to be a better word. But anyways, it could not make the decision to
Unilaterally,
terminate, yeah,
unilaterally.
unilaterally terminate another person's life without a human having a finger on a button to say okay. And I think that they lost that, and it's obvious. But anyways, and this goes
They
beyond
won.
the political arena,
They
but
won it. They won it, but the loss was the
the contract.
administration saying we're not going to do any contracts
Yeah,
with Anthropic
that was
going
heads up.
forward.
Yep,
So
yep. So, anyways, that's something to watch, folks. It was one hell of it. So we've only got
Heady
6 minutes
stuff,
left.
man.
Let's talk about the Iran war for just a second. It's something that TJ and I have talked about so many times on this show, going back to the very first day. I'm going to go
Back
ahead
to
and read this.
February.
Yeah, back to February. So let me just read this slide. Quote, exclusive. The United States has used virtually all of its precision strike missiles during the war in Iran. Stockpiles on ATACMS and precision strike missiles are almost depleted, and we have used about half of our Tomahawks per the new data circulating the administration. Well, fuck me, and I'm sorry, but this is I and I don't mean to create any frustration or hatred or not hatred but anger with you, TJ.
Eh,
But I
No, no,
said
no, no, no.
the day that this happened, I said I'm not.
Mhm.
It wasn't necessarily against going to war with Iran. I'm
Right.
against who was doing it because he fucks it up. He fucks up everything he touches, and the only reason he doesn't fuck something up is because he fucked up fucking it up. And this is a perfect example of a total
That's really
self
funny.
own. I mean,
Uh-huh.
they had reports are now saying that it was the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia was telling him that if you do another attack on Iran, you're not putting any planes or any airspace, you're not touching anything, and I speak for the entire Gulf. And so
She
I
does.
can't comprehend a a a worse planned out war. And my question is, why the hell does Pete Hegseth still have a job? So explain this to me. I thought we were a superpower.
well, for one thing, we know that the Donald Trump in this particular administration, he only fires women who screw up. He doesn't fire men who screw up.
It's a hell of a
So
point.
so you've got that, and Janine Pereiro, you're on the clock right now.
Yep.
So that's one part. That's one part of it. Um, uh, forgive me. I know we've only got a couple minutes left, but forgive me for making this connection here. Not only do we have this bouncing back and forth of, oh, we're going to rain hell down on these people, we're ending civilization. This is, oh wait, they come back to the table.
Yeah.
Back and forth, back and forth.
Deal is imminent. Yeah.
There was another story that broke this afternoon, involving the things that the president is really focused on, which is renovations and building and all this other kind of
Yeah.
stuff. He had made an agreement with the contractor on the installation of the helipad outside of the White House. They'd made this agreement about a week or two ago, and everything was getting sanded down and installed and so forth. He turns around and said, "Oh, by the way, Lockheed Martin, the contractor is working under Lockheed Martin." Suddenly, a week or so ago, he said, "Oh, this is awful. I don't like this. We're going to let's tear the whole thing up." And but he still wants this all done by September, I think, when the UN comes in. Whatever. We have a president who has always been kind of mercurial in some of these things, but it's gotten to a point now where it's embarrassing. It's causing, I think, a serious national security threat to the United States in the context of what's going on in Iran. And it does, I think National Review this week has this point where he says he's kind of gone into semi-retirement on all the big issues, and the things that he's really obsessed about are the golden ballroom, the East Wing, the
Vanity projects.
Oh, what do you call it? Not the Arc de Triomphe, the Arc de Triomphe.
Oh God, the Arc de Triomphe.
The Arc de Triomphe. I mean, all of these kind of things. And meanwhile, the country's fiscal outlook is completely burning. Our reputation, our literal armory and so forth has become depleted, and we've become something of an embarrassment.
Our armory depleted. Our strategic oil reserves are depleted. The manufacturing has not come home. And by the way, by virtue of us and this war in Iran, having an impact not just on a commodity. It's not just a commodity that's isolated. This is something that's a global market. So we're literally taking the whole world with us down this. This financial waterfall. We're going over in a barrel, and we're taking everybody else with us because we're negatively impacting a global market there, and the tangential, the attending cost to everything based on oil. We're messing with everybody in a negative way. And so anyway, by the way, Brian might be sitting there going, well, TJ have you just been in total denial and full of shit since February? No, from the beginning,
I've said longer than that, TJ. A lot longer.
Yeah, true.
Damn it, that was my line.
But the point is that I still remain calling balls and strikes, and we're right now. Trump's got the yips, and he cannot throw a strike. I don't know what you consider a ball or a strike, but calling balls and strikes right now, he's just walking them around the bases right now. He cannot nail a pitch, and And, look, if he was to tomorrow go and free Cuba, if he was to tomorrow, suddenly positively do something with, I don't know, somehow sign a peace agreement, I'd have to call those things what they are. Right now, it's a shit show. Right now, it's a shit show, and everybody's going down with him. And, and again, tomorrow, the one or two things that he could potentially get right tomorrow, I'm going to be there and call them right tomorrow. It's the only way you can approach this guy, or are you just going to kill you?
Well, I just want to say I appreciate you saying that, actually, and this is not facetious at all, TJ,
No.
because you and I often said on different opinions on some things about that, but you're right. If is on this show, if we can be honest, always honest with our opinions, but if you can't call balls and strikes, whether whoever's team you're on, then what's the point
Nobody
of this,
wins
right?
if you're a blind
That's
ideologue.
right. That's right.
Nobody wins. In fact, the blind ideologue is just so clearly a blind ideologue. There's no room for sheep, not in this environment.
And this was a great conversation. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. I don't know if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or X or wherever you're watching it. We do appreciate you doing this. If you can, please go over to to YouTube or to TikTok or wherever. Give us a follow. Follow our stuff on X. We are really scaling what we're doing. So we've got some things that are working. We're about to really start picking up with a lot of new shows, a lot of new people, and we would love to have you along for it. And Robert, thanks as always for joining. It's wonderful to have you on. And TJ, my friend, it's good to see you again. And we will see everybody again tomorrow. Thanks for joining.
See you, TJ. Thanks, Brian.
The No Bull Political Arena is on all major social media platforms. Make sure to give us and your host a follow.
Hey everybody, this is Sophia Nelson. Follow me at I am Sophia Nelson on every one of my social media platforms.
I'm Bill O'Reilly, and you can reach me at Twitter at WFBOR.
Hey, this is TJ. Follow me on X or Twitter at TJ McCormack.
This is Brian Mistro, and you can follow me on X at Brian_Mistro or follow along on Facebook at Brian.Mistro.
A No Bull Media Group member.